Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are going to be talking about the economy, really how bad the economy is right now. This is going to be a rant style video, which is pretty much me saying that I'm going to be complaining, so I just wanted to give you all a heads up on that. Complaining is pretty much my favorite hobby. I love to complain. I feel like more people need to do it because I feel like it's okay to see that there's a problem and you don't necessarily know the solution. That's pretty much what complaining is to me. I know that you all have noticed the changes in the economy. Everything is so expensive nowadays. It's crazy. I really just wanted to have a conversation, so feel free to leave your complaints down in the comments below. This is a safe space. I wanted to mention something that I forgot to say on the last video I uploaded, but I am no longer a budgeting content creator. My goal is not to be a financial guru. My goal is to just be open with you all and taking you all on this journey called my life. I'm not a know-it-all. I really don't know what I'm doing. I don't know who I am. I don't have life figured out. I'm not the person to look to for that. I'm just a very open book type person, and I like to share my experiences for those who might be going through something similar. So just remember, when you're watching my content, you're watching someone who's just trying to figure her life out, right? Just like everybody else. I'm just doing it on camera. So now let's go ahead and get into the video. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's get started. Number one, let's start off with my comment about normalized poverty, because that's something I really noticed. I am not mad at the content creators who are showing alternative ways of living, right? I'm not mad at them for showing the RV living, tiny home living. I actually appreciate them showing other ways to live, because a lot of us won't be able to own a house, right? What I meant by normalized poverty is the people who criticize those who work full-time jobs for wanting a home and basic necessities. You follow? The people that say, oh, well, if you can't buy a house, you need to go to Home Depot and live in a shed. The people that say, if you can't afford a shed, then you need to live in your vehicle. That's what I meant by normalized poverty. I don't know how many times I see people saying, well, if your two jobs aren't working, then you need a third job. No, they don't. They shouldn't. The issue is the economy, not the people. If people are working jobs, they should have enough to own a home. A home is not a luxury. At least it shouldn't be a luxury. We're not saying mansion, we're saying a house. And these people get attacked when they're upset that they can't afford a house because they're just supposed to live in an RV. I know y'all don't like to hear it, but an RV is a vehicle. It's a vehicle. I feel personally that people are entitled to a home. If they are working a job and they're working 9 to 5 and they spend more time at work than they do at home, then they deserve a home. Period. Everyone deserves a home. Now, to really talk about the home prices, I really wanted to dissect this because I am going to be selling my home. I made that decision. Well, I'm 99% sure that I'm going to be selling my home. And it is so sad that I bought my house in 2020 for $165,000. My realtor came by and told me that I could list my house for $265,000. $100,000 more in 4 years. For me as the seller, am I happy to hear that? Yes. For the person that's gonna be out here trying to find somewhere to live, am I happy about that? No. So it's good until it's not good. And I live low-key in the ghetto, so the fact that I couldn't even get approved for my house had I bought this year is, you get what I'm saying? It's just ridiculous. And I've been keeping up with the housing market. It doesn't look like it's ever gonna go down, but you know what? I think that eventually it will have to, because even if corporations, which are the main ones buying up these houses, if corporations buy up these houses, they're not going to be able to charge that much in rent right this second, you know. So the average rent in my neighborhood is about $1,650, really lower than that. And so if someone was to buy this house, they could only rent it out for about $1,700, even with a lot of renovations. That's actually what happened to my neighbor who bought their house for Airbnb. The Airbnb business slowed down and they're renting it out, but they're not renting it out for probably as much as the mortgage, because they bought that house for almost $300,000 in 2022 when the market was crazy, right? I say that all to say, if that's not proof that there's a bigger problem, I don't know what to say. Now let's get on number 2, which is car prices. As someone who had a rental car business and owned 15 cars, I feel like I really know the car market fairly well. Around the year 2022, the car market was insane, and it was due to a chip shortage, which caused for less cars to be pushed out, right? With that happening, that raised the price of both new and used vehicles. Follow me. This is how ridiculous it is. In the year 2020, I went to see how much my trade-in value would be for this particular car, a 2016 Honda Civic. They said $6,000 was as much as they could give for it. I went in 2022, when I thought about trading it in, they offered me $11,000, and then when I said no, that's okay, I was gonna leave, they offered me $12,000. Double than what they offered. We used to say, okay, if you can't afford a new car, buy used. Buying pre-owned was the best. It wasn't like that then. I will say, and I have good news for those looking to buy a car, the car prices are dropping drastically. I still have very, very good relationships with all the dealerships I shop with, and they are having a hard time selling cars right now. Why are they not selling? For a few reasons. Number one, the interest rates are insane. People are not locking into these contracts for these expensive cars that they're gonna have to pay off for 8 years. And the ones who did, they're telling the banks to come get the cars. They're not paying on it anymore. I'm one of them, right? Voluntary repossessions are through the roof. So if you're not familiar with what that is, that's pretty much you giving the car back to the bank and just saying, hey, I don't want to pay on it anymore. Will you owe the difference? Yes, but you're able to kind of negotiate with the bank once they pick it up. But I will say, I'm seeing every time car prices going down. The longer we hold off, and again, I'm not an expert, I think car prices are going to go down pretty hefty. I can use this car as an example. My 2022 Tesla Model 3, at the time they were going for $60,000 to $70,000, not even brand new, used. You can buy a brand new Tesla right now for less than half of that. Less than half of that, okay? I really say that to say just hold off. You know, I think that things are gonna work out, hopefully. If you're not really pressed for a car, just wait. Every time I look around, I get an email, come trade in your car, we're giving an extra $15,000 off MSRP. I say hold off. Topic number 3, let's talk about food prices. It used to be eat at home, but now eating at home and eating out feels about the same. It's about equal. I know it's not, but it feels that way. It's close. I did a video recently of me and my mom going out to breakfast, and someone commented and said, that is so irresponsible. You could have used that money and invested it. In what? Where you want me to put that $15? I know a lot of us have this mindset that deprivation is just going to take you places, but I could guarantee or your money back is not. As someone who became 100% debt free at the age of 25, I was on a rice and beans diet. I had a budget of $20 a week. That was my fun money. I couldn't spend any more than that, and I stuck to that budget with my life, right? I don't care whose birthday it was. If I spent my 20, I can't go nowhere. Now I look back, I regret missing so much, just trying to save so much money. I'm not trying to persuade you to go and spend all of your money. Of course, be responsible. Please enjoy the little things. I promise you, it won't make such a big difference. I had a Dunkin' Donuts coffee for the first time when I turned 27. I was that strict on not buying coffee because I just knew if I did, I would rupture my finances. Sweetie, do the little things. Of course, have discipline, but buy the coffee. You can go to the movies every now and then. You can go to Applebee's every now and then. Enjoy life. What are you really working for? Just to work and pay bills and then die? People act like, oh, you went and bought breakfast. You could have invested that in the stock market. I need y'all to go take a nap. Don't let these bills and this economy take the life out of you, right? You still gotta live. Fourth to last thing on my list is the job market. Let's talk about that really quick. It sucks that jobs are just acting like they don't see that eggs are $15. Salaries have not increased, but everything else has. And the salaries that have increased have been pennies on the dollar. On top of that, a lot of people cannot find jobs, myself included. I've been job hunting, I have had no luck, and my resume looks good. It is very hard out here to find a job right now. I have friends that are degree certified and all of that are having a really hard time getting a job. I don't know what we're expected to do as a whole. I know for me right now, I am gonna get a bridge job. So let me know if you all would like to see that. I'm thinking about doing a segment of me doing DoorDash, Instacart, and those kind of things. So let me know if that's something y'all would be interested in. The jobs that I've been looking at on Indeed and other websites, they're starting at $15 an hour. That's how much they were paying back in 2020. Things have changed, but companies are acting like, oh, we don't see that. I know y'all see it. And this is causing a lot of people to have to get 2 jobs. We could go ahead and move on to the solutions that I have. Now, please take it with a grain of salt. We just talking, right? It's not financial advice. We're just having a conversation. So number 1, for those who live in the city, we might have to move out the city. I know that a lot of us don't want to live on the outskirts. And I know that the outskirts are also getting expensive. They're not as expensive as living in the city. I say that for 2 reasons. Number 1, there are still cheap rents. I live in Atlanta. You might have to live in Augusta. There's some places in the Carolinas that are still cheap. Someone told me not to sell my home because I'll never be able to buy a property again. I can if I get one in Gary, Indiana. You don't have to invest in your backyard, right? You can still own property and land. You might not be able to do it in Atlanta or Miami, but you can still do it. It just won't be where you want it to be. I've been seeing a lot of expats moving out of the country for years now. I've been following that. The American dollar is causing a lot of things to be more expensive. When I went to Costa Rica, I got to talk to this guy that owned real estate there. So we're having a conversation and I'm telling him, you know what, I might move to Costa Rica. It's so expensive in the States. And he said it's getting expensive everywhere. Since a lot of people in the US are migrating to these places, it's causing them to raise the prices drastically on everything as well. Speaking of Costa Rica, I feel like I need to say this because it's just something that I noticed. When I went to Costa Rica, I noticed that the natives didn't live as nice as the Americans who were buying up a lot of the properties. And most of the properties were used for Airbnb. I'm not down to anyone, make your money. I do believe that us moving to these countries are causing them to raise the prices drastically, because even in Costa Rica, in my opinion, I think that the properties are expensive for it to be Costa Rica. And I know for sure that the natives cannot afford that. And it's just so messed up because we're leaving the American dream because we're seeing that it's so expensive. And it's not our fault. It's just that places are getting really greedy for the American dollar. Inflation is happening globally. And I don't know why I thought it was just here in America, but it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It might be time to move somewhere else, right? And I'm not saying not to move to a different country. What I'm saying is don't get ripped off. Number 2, and this is something that I did for myself. Again, I'm not telling you to do it, but I'm just saying. Ask for extensions on those bills. If you're getting overwhelmed and you feel like you're drowning, ask for an extension. They will not ruin your credit report for that. They will not get mad at you and want to fight you for asking, can you do a skip a payment? That's what I did on my loans. Whenever it became too much, hey, I need to do a skip a pay. And some places let you do skip a pay for 3 months. Yes, it gets added to the end of the loan, but if you're drowning, please do yourself a favor. I really want y'all to understand that these are companies. They're not people. They will be fine. Are you okay is the question. Don't sacrifice your money that you need for gas trying to, oh, I gotta keep up with this. Call these people. Ask them, hey, I'm having some hard times right now financially. What are my options? And they'll tell you. Just call. And last but not least, a lot of people are going to argue with me about this, but this is directed to the people that are so depressed about their finances that they can't take it anymore. This is for you. Talk to a bankruptcy attorney, please. People act like bankruptcy is a death sentence, and it's not. It is a hard thing to get through, and it should be a last resort. Like I say, I'm not giving advice, I'm just talking. It should be a last resort. But if you're that overwhelmed by your debt to the point where you're scared to answer the phone, you're panicking, you're having anxiety attacks, etc., call the attorney. This could be a blessing. I know it might not feel like it right then, and it doesn't destroy your life. And please don't listen to people who have never filed. They're talking about their cousin's cousin was the one who filed. They don't really know. Talk to a professional. They are actually educated on this. This is what they do for a living. It's not that terrible, and it's a good reset for a lot of people. And I know a lot of you will say, just use the Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Dave Ramsey also filed, baby doll. Dave Ramsey filed for bankruptcy. He's very open about it, and I don't know why people don't bring up that part. He was drowning in debt. He over leveraged his debt and had to file. And I love me some Dave Ramsey, but we have to be fair. Some people need a reset. He did say once he made a lot of money, he paid everyone back. So can you when you have the money. right? It's a reset. You have a chance to save again. You have a chance to start over. I talked to someone recently and they told me, don't be embarrassed to share that part, like that you almost had to file bankruptcy. It's not an embarrassing thing. Don't get me wrong, it's very invasive. There's a lot of cons to it, just like anything else. There's also a lot of cons of not being able to pay your bills. You know, that's why I say it's the last resort, but it is an option. All right, so that's all that I have for you today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure you follow me on TikTok. I'll leave the link down below, and I will see you all in the next video.